Hello and welcome to the PhD Life Raft podcast. I'm Emma Brzezinski and today I am talking to the awesome Anna Clemens. We're talking about taking external courses to support your PhD study. And so in this episode, we talk about why you might want to do that, how you might go about it, and we also talk about creating your own PhD bucket list. So I do hope you enjoy this episode. Hello, Anna.
Hello.
Thank you so much for being here for the second time. You've already been here,
Yay.
gorgeous guest.
And thanks for inviting me back on.
Well, it is a delight because you've got golden information, and you already talked to us all about getting published and writing journal articles, and so we'll have the link in the show notes to that episode because it's brilliant. But also it's got your story in, and because you've already been here before, we won't go into your story again like we usually do. But what I thought we would do instead, because we're here today to talk about taking courses alongside your PhD, and because we are launching a course that people might want to take. And so we're going to talk a bit about that. But I think before we get into that, I wondered whether you could talk us through your story in terms of developing courses and how that has been for you.
Yeah, thank you. So my story of developing courses really started with me editing papers for researchers. So I was working sort of as an independent developmental editor, where researchers would hire me to give them feedback on their paper and do like language editing, developmental editing. And what I noticed, so my editing was very, it was like a particular kind. So they usually is like, you say like copy editing and developmental editing, where copy editing is a little more like surface level, like commas, things like that. And developmental editing goes a bit deeper into like the whole structure. And I would say mine was like, very, very developmental editing. So I would go super deep. That was just my thing. I couldn't help it. Like, even though I guess I wasn't even paid to do such a thorough job. And even one time I got pushed back on it, which was hilarious. I mean, it was very difficult at the time, but a client had said, "Oh my God, I didn't expect you to do that." Like, he was a little upset. And then it was so funny. And I was like, oh my God. And then 2 days later, he sends me this email. "Oh my God, Anna, this was amazing." And he asked me to, like, he tried to hire me again. And I didn't actually work with him again because that first interaction was a little upsetting. But it was kind of like, that's kind of like just shows you that I guess I was doing things a little differently from what other editors would do. And that it was like, what I really realized was when researchers write a paper and they kind of like, before they send it to editing, they would do like the most thorough job they can. They would get everything perfect, then send it to me. And then I would go and feel like, okay, so where's the story here? Let's really like pull back. Let's really dig deep. And I think like, and I suggested all those changes. And then you can imagine that people, yes. It's like frustrating to having to like just keep rewriting stuff. And I really noticed, not only with like external editors, I really noticed, okay, this is a problem in the writing process for researchers. They just keep rewriting stuff. And then like, it becomes like these like projects that you dread and you don't want to touch that paper anymore. And you cannot stand even seeing it. And it becomes so toxic. And I really realized this process is inefficient. Like, and I don't want to kind of contribute to that. And I was thinking, okay, how can I actually help researchers better? How can I be part of the solution, not part of the problem, sort of thing? So, and then I was thinking, okay, I need to teach them what are the steps that I go through when I edit, right? Like, and what would be then the steps that they could go through when they write, so they don't need to first write and then completely rewrite, but they could like write in a structured way right off the bat, like right off the get-go. And then I developed a method for that, the journal publication formula, that I then taught to people individually. Like I called it a one-to-one coaching. So we would meet on Zoom and go through things, and they would do stuff on their own, and then we would like meet again. Like it was like a very like kind of like I hold your hand and we write this paper together kind of thing. And that worked really well, and I got really nice feedback on that. And then I was like, okay, so if that works, then I think, I mean, obviously one-to-one coaching is not very accessible. Like it just cannot work with very many people, and not very many people can afford to. So I had the idea of then turn that into a course. And this is what I did. So it took me a few months. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to not do editing for a bit. It was hard. It was like a little bit of a leap when, you turn off your income for a few months to develop something. But I needed to do it that way. I just couldn't do it alongside it. I did, and I put it out there. And that was, I guess, 2 years ago, it first launched. And since then it has developed as well. So it started as a course. Now I say more program, just because it's still a course, in the sense of that it has lessons. But there are so many more components to it now that I kind of call it a program, but it is a course program. I mean, these kind of words are used, I guess, a little bit as synonyms anyway.
Yeah. Oh, I love this. And I think the brilliant thing about the course as well, or the program format, is that you have these other people with you, don't you? I mean, that's something that I've found is that actually working one-to-one with someone has a real intensity, and you can really be absolutely bespoke content. But as you say, it then becomes expensive because it's that time. But also, I think people can learn a lot from how other people are approaching things and seeing that other people are on that similar journey.
Oh my God, yeah.
So I think that's what I found exciting about developing courses too. And I think what you talked about there, in terms of what we're going to get into, in terms of why do a course, but in terms of why make a course, like you, I've certainly seen that there's all this learning that needs to happen as part of a doctoral program, which people aren't expecting. I think very few people, especially in terms of the work you're doing, very few people are expecting that they're going to be learning how to write. A lot of people arrive with writing skills, definitely, but not expecting that that's going to be a big shift in what they're doing. And actually it is it's a massive part of the PhD is learning how to write, as part of the whole revolution that goes in terms of the PhD journey. And like you say, actually it's very different from that undergraduate or even masters, where you craft something, hand it in, and then you're not really ever expecting to rewrite that again. You just kind of craft it, hand it in. Whereas on the PhD, there's a whole iterative process that's going on, and that's a very different approach, isn't it? So I think that writing, all sorts of different learning that happens on the PhD program, and that's why certainly I've been involved in creating courses in terms of giving them that support, because people aren't expecting that to happen. It may take them by surprise, and they may want someone, like you said, to just walk them through what this might mean and how they can sort of process that, and how they can develop skills in particular areas. So yes, I absolutely comes out of a hard-won experience from both of us, I think, really.
Yeah, it really is something that in universities often isn't taught, right? It's this thing that is kind of expected. Like, I often feel like that all those skills, like when you do a PhD program, you're kind of just getting, or often many universities, many institutions only provide you training on that topic or related topics.
Yes.
If you get any training, like sometimes I feel like you don't even get training in that. You're just expected to kind of learn by doing.
Absolutely. People are just expected to get on with it and to kind of to assimilate often. And that, you know, that is shifting, and hooray for that. And let's be out of a job in a little while, Anna, because, you know, people are all getting what they need as they go. Hooray for that. But at the moment, there are real gaps, and people are really struggling with that. And I think for both of us, we were just talking before we came on the call in terms of how amazing it is to help people through and to help people to get over the finish line, you know, and to progress their careers. And, you know, that is amazing. That's what we're here for. So we're just about to, I'm very excited because we are going to be doing a webinar together. Let's do a shameless plug for it right now. Tell us what it is. Tell people what it is that we're doing.
Yeah, so we're going to do a live webinar on the 28th of March.
28th of March.
It's a Tuesday afternoon, kind of UK time. And what we're going to talk about is how to get published in high-ranking journals without lacking structure in the writing process. We're going to go through 3 mistakes that I, as an academic writing coach, have seen researchers make over and over again. And we're also going to walk through the journal publication formula. So this is the system that I develop, that I teach in my course, in my program. And we're going to go over that, and also offer you an invitation to then join my program, the Researchers Writing Academy, if you feel like that would be a good fit, that would be the right next step for you. And if you want to go check out this free webinar, like this is completely free, like you can attend completely for free. If you want to join us, there's also actually going to be a Q&A. So if you want to ask us something about writing or publishing, we'll reserve some time at the end to talk about that, and you have a little bit of a discussion.
And we'll have all the details in the show notes as well. And what we do need to say is that this is biased because of your expertise. This is biased towards writing in the sciences and the social sciences, not so much in the humanities. But the webinar will be of use to everybody, and you're very welcome to come and join us for that. We wanted to just address, because it's a question that people ask us, why should you sign up for a course? How does that doing an external course help you on your journey? Why should you sign up for an external course? So why should you, Anna? Why sign up for an external course?
Yeah, it's a great question. I would say that do check out what your university has to offer.
Yes.
In terms of courses, because some universities actually offer things.
Yes.
And it depends a bit on the country. I think it depends a bit on university to university, and there may be really, really, really nice offers that I would definitely check out.
And also your professional associations as well can have great and very subject-specific courses too. So those are really worth looking at too. So absolutely, don't just sign up for the first thing that comes. Do your homework. Yes.
Yeah. Once you checked out, like whether your university has courses or not, and if there isn't anything that your university offers on writing. And I know from my experience that a lot of universities don't offer good academic writing courses. They are often focused a lot on linguistics. This has been my experience. They're often run by language faculties. They can be very focused also on more the process of writing, and not really, or like more on the topic of like how can I make time to write more of the project management bit, which we actually do cover in my course as well. But what we do in my course that is a little bit different, I think, from how most courses operate, is that we go into, okay, how do I develop the paper step by step? And like, what is the first step I need to do in the process of writing? And that's the first step in the process of developing a story, which I think is something that often isn't covered in courses that are offered at universities. And your university might not have a course at all on that.
Yeah. I think that is worth saying, is that actually external courses are likely to be more detailed in terms of they're likely to run a bit longer, because quite often you might have a kind of a 1 session or a 2 session thing. So actually then you're likely to get, like you say, you've got different sessions on different things. So that's likely to be something that an external course would offer, isn't it?
What I actually also really like about external courses, or at least this is the way how it is in my course, is just being able to meet so many other researchers from totally different institutions, from different countries and from different backgrounds. I think that is so enriching, and having this like kind of community, also actually at different career stages. And this is something someone said to me, like a member of my course said to me the other day. She went like, oh, it's so nice. She's a PhD student. She was like, it's so nice to be able to be kind of in the same group with people who are maybe PIs, professors, and we're all learning together. And just, I really like having this kind of forum, this kind of way where everyone is like, okay, let's do this, let's learn this together. Yeah. We're all in the same boat. We all struggle with similar things. And it can just be nice, because I feel like in academia, this has been my experience, that there was a lot of shame around not being able to do something. You were kind of always expected to know everything, even though this is hilarious, because how would you know how to write a paper?
It's impossible. And it's a skill, right? This is a skill.
Yeah, exactly. So I always say it's a skill that you need to learn, and what you need to learn is skill. Well, you need to learn the strategy and you need to practice. And without having either, you're not going to learn the skill. So it's like ridiculous that you're expected to do that, or that there's this shame around. So I often encounter people who go, yeah, I can't really talk to my colleagues about this, that I'm not good at this, or that I struggle with this. And this, I think, is so nice, than having a community with people who you can just be open to, because you don't know them. I mean, you hopefully get to know them, but you're all in the same boat. You're all starting from the right point. And that, I really, really love that, and about having these types of courses external.
Yeah. And I think it is about finding your people on the PhD journey. Absolutely that. And I think that that's certainly something on my courses too, in terms of people who find other people, because they're all doing the same sort of course. They've all chosen to do that. They kind of get it, and they find other people who are in a similar place, and there is such an important part of it, alongside all the other stuff.
I also see that. I see such generosity as well from members, how they offer their time, offer their expertise to others, giving them suggestions, showing like systems they develop for themselves and different softwares, or like ways they do things. Like, we have this so much, and I think that's just such a beautiful thing to be part of, like a community.
Yeah, and ongoing support as well. I know out of the 12-week sprint program that I did, there, people went forward supporting each other as they, after the course. So there's kind of
that's so beautiful.
Set that up, and off they go. And that is just brilliant. That's a really important part of it. Okay, so this sense of kind of particular skills, and going into more depth, finding community. Anything else that people might get from external course?
What I would also say actually is that a PhD is a really, really good time to invest in professional development that is a little outside, or that isn't only on your research topic.
Yes.
Because especially, but not only, if you want to continue in academia, because I have a lot. That's actually one of the biggest groups in the program is assistant professors. Because when you miss the point during your PhD or during your postdoc to acquire those skills, you become an assistant professor and suddenly you're on your own. You're on your own and you have to publish. And they are under a lot of pressure and they have a lot less time than you have during your PhD. That's just the way things are. You have more time to invest in actually in professional development, in developing your skills. And even if you don't think you're going to continue in academia, I think writing is one of those skills. And a lot about writing is kind of just being able to distill the key messages from what you did, being able to like synthesize ideas, and being able to communicate those ideas. And I think learning that helps even if you don't want to continue in academia. Like it will help you in whatever job you're doing afterwards.
And this is what we always say, isn't it, about the kind of the PhD is a big transitional moment, and you are becoming a doctor and all that's going to mean for you. And so that there might be particular courses or particular experiences that you want to have that help that transformation. You're kind of like, actually, I want to fill that gap. I want to get that skill. I want to meet those people. I want to make those connections. And just thinking about, I talk about having a PhD bucket list in terms of having this sense of what do you want from this experience, as well as maybe what you need in terms of the skills that you need, but what do you want? How do you want to be in this process? And that those looking for opportunities to develop that could be golden in terms of taking that time, as you say, that actually, even though it feels incredibly pressured in a PhD program, it really does. I know it does. But actually, compared to, as you say, to perhaps what's coming next, there is time to do that work. So really sort of taking up that opportunity. Yes, right. I'm aware of time, because here's the thing, I get too excited about talking about this a lot. So I want to serious about, because what I want to come to then is in terms of thinking about actually kind of undertaking that course, because I know for a lot of people they'll be concerned about sort of how to find useful courses, what to look for, how to fund it. So have you got any ideas? Well, I'm saying, have you got any? I know you have. That's really disingenuous, isn't it? Tell us, Anna. Tell us how, guide us through that process.
Yeah. So when it comes to funding, I think what many PhD students don't realize is that there is money often in many universities. There is money for that somewhere hidden away.
Budget, yeah,
that nobody speaks about. Like, this is often not being advertised. But the first thing I would do if you want to take a course, go ask your supervisor, go ask your thesis advisor, whoever is sort of the point of contact for you. Go ask that person first. And ask them if they present the opportunity to them, and ask them if they're funding for that. And a lot of PIs, principal investigators, have grants from which they can sort of claim, like in the budget of those grants, they have set aside some money for professional development that they can use in that way. And other than those people, the department, your graduate school, whatever sort of organization, or how should I say, whatever sort of structure you have, try thinking about like potential sponsors that you could ask. Even if the first one doesn't work out, like, don't get discouraged. Go and ask go and ask someone else, because there honestly may be some money somewhere for this. And also keep in mind that you getting that training is of benefit to them. You becoming a better researcher, a better being able to publish in more prolific journals, in I don't know, better publications, will be of benefit to your institution. So it is in their interest that you get that training, that you become that great writer, and that also an efficient writer, right? Like if you can write papers faster, that is of interest. That is in your institution's interest. So being in that right mindset, I think, when you make the ask is really important. It's a win for your institution. Like, it's a win-win situation.
Exactly. It's not an admission of failure. It's absolutely like, I'm going to be proactive about getting the skills that I need and getting the support I need. That's what I'm doing here.
Yeah, exactly. And also what one could even do, and what I would recommend you to do when you make the ask, is to look at your universities or your departments or whoever you're speaking to, look at their like strategic plan or their kind of aims that they've published somewhere. And then think about, how does the course that you want to take tie in with that? So that you can present that to them. And also, if your university offers something, so for example, if your university does have an academic writing course or has a writing center or something like that, and you want to take an external academic writing course, look into how that course is different that you want to take. Really specify, okay, these aspects are just missing from what you offer. This is why I would like to go with that person. Be ready to kind of present them, like make a case for that course, like what is good about that course. Maybe I don't know, maybe that person has a blog that you've taken a lot of knowledge from, or maybe that person you've interacted with in some way or form and learned from before. So being able to kind of pitch it in that way. And also, I would definitely recommend have a conversation. Like, don't write this in an email. Set up a quick meeting. Like, honestly, tell them this will take 10 to 15 minutes. Like, don't make this a big thing for them, because they don't have time. Be prepared in that meeting, and then kind of pitch it, and know all the details of the course, like as you talk to them, like know the price, know how long it is, know everything that they may need to know. And actually, if you want, I know this is kind of quite a lot of things. I've wrote a blog post on this, so if you want to read up on that, we'll link to that, or Emma hopefully links to that in the show notes, so that you can go through all the points. And yeah, definitely try. This would be my recommendation, because there's often money that isn't being advertised for professional development.
And in terms of finding the right course for you, how can people go about that?
I would recommend you to, if you find someone that you're considering to take a course from, consume their free content, see what they're offering, whatever they have, especially if they have videos or webinars, like something that's like similar to the course, that would be similar to a course format, or similar to, I mean, that kind of is on the topic that you want to learn, right? Like, see what their approach is, see if it resonates with you, and see if you feel like that they get you, I think, it needs to kind of, if you feel like, I think, after consuming free content, like you kind of get an idea whether this could be a good fit or not. And what I would also say is, look at testimonials, like see other case studies of people, see what they got out of the course, out of the program, understand like, what are the results they got? What are the transformations they got? What position were they in before? Like, see if this would like apply to you, get a kind of a picture of what that would be like. And also, honestly, I mean, this is something, I mean, I can only speak for myself, but if you are unsure whether or not the course would be a good fit, we always invite people to email us, and we're happy to help you decide, because it isn't, like I always say, like, we're totally honest. Like, if you don't think it's a good fit, we're always totally honest, because the last thing we want for you is to join and feel like, oh, this is not for me, like, because that is not in our interest either. So we really always love to take the time to answer questions and to clarify things and things like that. So,
and I think if somebody's not prepared to do that and take some time and meet with you, then that's a massive red flag, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? I think if you're going to be working with this person and you want to make sure that you can be good work partners, and so and I'm exactly the same, that I want to know that people will be a good fit for a program, because it doesn't help anybody to not have it. So yes,
no, it really doesn't.
I think all that standard stuff in terms of like, just listen to your gut. Is this the right person for me? Yeah, absolutely. Brilliant. Right, I really am aware of time now, and I know that we need to get to the question that I always ask, the ridiculous question about top tips. But just remind everyone, there's going to be lots of information in the show notes, actually, because there's lots we could say here. So Anna, like I ask everybody very unfairly, in terms of these taking an external course, what would be your top tip or top tips?
I would say my top tip is take some time and reflect on your goals. Reflect on your goals for your year, maybe for the next few years. If you're a PhD student, graduate student, maybe until like the time until you graduate, consider that time frame and think about, okay, what are my goals for this? Apart from graduating, or what do I need to graduate, right? Write it all down. Really think about, I mean, Emma, as you say, I really love the thing about the bucket list.
Yes, have a bucket list. Come on.
Write a bucket list, and then on that bucket list, I would say, or on those goals, circle the most important ones. Like, get them a lot and then circle the most important ones, because I think what we sometimes forget is that we only have so much time. So really focusing in on, okay, what is most important? What am I really going to invest in? What I'm going all in? Analyze, see, okay, how can I get there? What is it that you need? Like, I love journaling personally for these things.
I love a journal.
I love thinking, I love stepping back, and I think it's really important to do this. Take some time off the daily grind, the daily, I know there's so many things all the time. I think we all experience that. Their emails, they are very important things all the time. So we kind of get sucked in, and just taking that time, take a step back, reserve some time to really reflect and think through what do I need? Like, what do I need to do in the next 3 months, in the next year, in the next week? But kind of approach it that way. Start with your goals and then go from there, because I think in that way you'll actually also commit to really taking that course, because there's a priority, and you will make time for it, and you will make sure that you get out of it what you want to get out of.
I love it. And what I love about that too is it comes then also from this kind of abundance. It's like, I am going to be able to do this thing, and I'm going to call in what I need to help me do that, rather than coming from a place, kind of, don't wait for that moment where you're like, oh, I can't do this, and now I'm really stuck, and now I need desperately to get out of this thing. I think this kind of keeping in, I talk about it a lot in terms of keeping in abundance and openness, and knowing that you are supporting yourself, and even if you can't do this thing yet, you will be able to do it with the right support in place. And so what you're doing here is you're providing yourself with the support, wherever that comes from. Anna, thank you so much.
Thank you. This was so fun to talk about.
I know, it's always lovely to check in with you, and I am very much looking forward to the 28th of March. So I will see you then. Thank you so much, and hopefully see some of you there too. thank you all for listening.